Here on this show, we, at least for me, over the last 30 years, I've had the pleasure of interviewing one Herald reporter after another, after another, after another. Every week we have a Herald reporter on in Michelle Kaufman doing our Inter Miami reports. Um, we did a little baseball the other day with a Herald reporter.
Jordan McPherson.
Yes, Jordan McPherson. George Richards comes on. He's with the Athletic, used to be with the Miami Herald. Andre Fernandez with the Athletic, used to be with the Miami Herald. I'm not sure if you guys saw the story, but the McClatchy newspapers, the parent company of the Miami Herald, has formally announced yesterday that it is filing for bankruptcy and handing control to a hedge fund. The news isn't a surprise to a company's workers. Last year, McClatchy announced that it didn't have nearly enough money to pay out the pensions it owes to former employees. The company seemingly had few options left besides bankruptcy. The news is frightening for all its workers. All the same, local media suffers in the sake of industry challenges. Communities suffer. Polarization grows. Civic connections fray and borrowing costs rise for local governments. They're moving with speed and focus to benefit on all stakeholders and our communities. CEO Craig Foreman told the AP today. Foreman has cut budgets and personnel while receiving a seven-figure salary and personal housing stipends. Company employees don't quite share Foreman's rosy views. Herald employees, for example, have privately worried for weeks the new rounds of layoffs might happen. Last month, the paper abruptly shuttered its printing plant in Doral and laid off more than 70 workers, having opened the plant only 8 years ago. More slashing will likely continue, provided a court approves McClatchy's Chapter 11 bankruptcy request. The company's new owner will be McClatchy's largest shareholder, the hedge fund Chatham Asset Management. The news is simply bad for the company's journalists. Private equity companies in recent years have decimated the news industry. Another hedge fund, Alden Global Capital, has bought up massive stakes in newspaper chains, including the nation's second largest digital first media and slash staffs. Despite still turning a profit, Alden has admitted that its plan in some cases was to make money from the real estate some legacy newspapers still own rather than from the company's journalism. It's unclear how Chatham plans to make money from taking over McClatchy's 30 newspapers. Okay? And it owes $530 million in pension benefits alone. At the same time, McClatchy still owes more than $700 million in debt from the $4.5 billion the company paid to buy competing newspaper chains from Knight Ridder in 2006. A move, by the way, widely considered one of the most disastrous financial choices in the history of the news industry. So I say this with a heavy heart because I know that a lot of my friends in the media have already lost jobs, are out of work right now. There are a lot of really good media members that are out of work, and there's more that are going to lose their jobs because of this. I mean, the Herald's already down to only a few writers. The sports page is held up by only a couple of writers. My God, Barry Jackson writes like 10 articles a day. Michelle Kaufman, during the Super Bowl, they had her like all over the place. It's crazy, man. And look, a guy like Greg Cody will be fine because he's latched on with Lebitard, so he's probably earning a check there. I don't know how much, but he's probably getting something there. But a lot of the other writers, they don't have those options on the electronic side. And not that the electronic side is any kind of great shakes. I mean, look at Intercom. They don't even have enough money to run those stations. I mean, if you notice, half the time they're off the air. There's all kinds of screw ups. Their equipment doesn't work. They don't have parts to replace anything that breaks in that place. You know that? like 560 and 790 in these stations and Intercom, all of their work is done in their home base. It's not even done in this town. All their promotions are run from headquarters. Everything they do is from headquarters. They are eliminating their people and their connection to local. That's why I think we are growing and why we're going to take some other steps in the future that you're going to notice, because there is no local connection anymore. We're losing it. And you know what? I'm dead set on keeping it and trying to maintain it and grow with it and adjust and do what they can do. Get the proper support from you all, get the right sponsors, and, we can do our thing instead and do it the right way with a local angle. We're going to do that. You'll see. You're going to watch this thing grow shortly. There's a bunch of things that we got planned. But I read that story, and it breaks my heart, man, because there's a lot of really good people that are going to lose their jobs. They do a really, really good job, and the direction that we're headed in, it's a direction where they're trying to not educate our kids about history to make them smarter so they understand things so it doesn't repeat, limiting the media so we're dumb and we can't think for ourselves, and we don't have people that are objectively covering things, whether it's sports or politics or news or anything else. It's a dangerous direction that we're headed in this country. Very dangerous direction that we're headed in this country, and it's a shame. And this is part of the problem, okay? Because there's a lot of really good media members that we need in this world, okay? That they take pride in covering things on an objective basis. It's a shame.